I just paid $74.39 for my premium edition copy of Forza Horizon 5, but I could have bought the standard edition for only $46.42. That's dirt cheap, and the only reason I was able to do that is summarized in one word: globalization. And you thought that geography class wasn't gonna be useful. When businesses all over the world are doing a good job, they all start wanting the same thing: to sell their products in other countries. Basically, they want to achieve the ultimate level of capitalism, to become a multinational company or a world-class brand. When you, customer, want to buy a good that isn't available in your country, what you usually need to do is to find it online in some other country's company. Then you buy it, and it's imported to where you live and delivered to your door. And that's very important, because delivery takes time and, more importantly, money. Logistics, which is what takes care of your delivery, takes so much money to do that sometimes it can be more expensive to get it shipped to you than to actually buy the item itself. Imagine wanting something and then having to pay double for it. Yeah, I wouldn't either. So seeing that, what companies traditionally did is they would go to that country they want to sell to and have a factory plant built there. That company would then hire local force and use locally sourced materials in an effort to make the product more attainable. And that usually worked, bringing a desired product into that market and creating jobs and opportunities in the process. The thing is, we're not in the 1960s anymore. The problem today has become one of digital products. Games are software, and software are way easier to redistribute, but too expensive. Let me explain. Digital products aren't physical, so companies don't have to worry about shipping costs. It's literally one click and you have it on your computer. And by not worrying about delivery, they don't have to bring a whole factory to your country. That, in turn, doesn't create new jobs, many paying salaries for suppliers, or has any relevant effect on that country's economy. And this is where the problem arises. Let's say a game costs, on average, $60. If an American citizen makes on average almost $5,500 a month, that $60 would make a significant dent on their budget. However, if you're in, say, Brazil, the story is a little different. Let's say the game still costs $60. The average monthly income for a Brazilian is just over $650. Ouch. Right? That's almost 10% of everything they can buy in a month. For the average American, that's barely 1%. And that's not even the full picture. If you consider that according to worlddata.info, the cost of living in Brazil is about half of that of the US, yet the buying power is 4 times lower. We can say that it's like living off of just $346 for a whole month of expenses. Talk about simple living. For those of you curious, cost of living and buying power are two concepts that help you understand how much your money is actually worth. If you have $1 and an apple costs $1, you can buy one apple with your dollar. But if your buying power is halved, that means that you can only buy half an apple with that same dollar. It's like you'd need to have $2 to buy the same apple. Now, cost of living is basically how much money you have to spend in order to live. It considers the cost of many goods and services, like food, gas, rent, and interest. If the cost of living is high, that means your money will buy less stuff and you have less buying power too. To summarize, a high cost of living is like having a low buying power and vice versa. If the company is lazy, they're gonna charge a customer $60 for a game no matter where they live. But you know, while 1% may not be much, taking your income, then dividing it in 5 equal parts and devoting a whole 20% of all you make just to buy one game, let's just say it's less than ideal. That means companies are gonna lose clients and sell less games, thus making less money if they don't drop prices for not only developing countries, but also for each country they feel might need a discount incentive. To further quantify the problem, it is not rare for people in Brazil to make $50 a week, which is minimum wage. And a lot of people make just over $100 a week. In fact, 42.5% of Brazilians make less than $130 a week. That's almost 90 million people that had to stop eating for a week straight just to buy Forza Horizon 5 Premium Edition. And don't even get me started on the less privileged countries. So, in short, to answer the question of how I was able to buy Forza Horizon 5 Premium Edition for $75 instead of $99, well, I live in Brazil. And in doing so, the game costs me a more reasonable sum of money. That sum is 250 reais for the standard edition and 400 reais for the premium, which currently corresponds to about 45 and 75 American dollars respectively. Also, I might add that we used to pay at most 200 reais for AAA games, and that was only for the top ones. Now we're paying 250 to 400 reais. Personally, I think it's some abusive pricing. I think the takeaway from this video is be thankful that you live in a developed country and don't have to survive on such a low wage. And since I bought the premium edition, expect content starting November 5th. Digital products aren't digital.